All right, I'm back out here. It's been a few days, had some diversions along the way, and I'm to the point of I think I'm to the point of putting things back together here. It takes me a while to figure out what I was doing last. Anyway, as I was getting ready to install the air chute channel, I don't know what you call them, anyway, onto the turbo, I noticed that we have a problem with wiring. And there it is right there. So I got to wrap that puppy. It's part of the glow plug harness coming off the ficum, don't know which way. So got to wrap that up a little bit, protect it. I think it was chafing on the bottom of the air tube here. So I'm going to fix that. Be back in a sec. Well, it's back together and it's running. So I think I'm going to attempt that passenger side valve cover and harness. We'll be back. All right, I've got the passenger side valve cover basically exposed. And it looks fairly easy, with the exception of one bolt between here and the valve cover, possibly two, another one on the back I can see. So I'm gonna have to check this out online and see what's the best way to get to it. I mean, a long open end or even a closed end long would probably get to it, but it seems odd. I can't believe I got to take the entire fan motor shroud housing, whatever you want to call it, off. It just seems kind of extreme for a valve cover, but heck, maybe I got to do it. Getting to the glow plug harness doesn't look too bad. I can get to it from on top, some of them, and the rest probably underneath. So all right, let me research those in there, and I'll be back. Well, since I didn't take the tire off, I couldn't get in there with both hands like I wanted. But this did work. I just had to go in there a little bit blind and feel with the finger to get the top of the bolt. You might be able to see from here, getting a light up there. I got a gimpy arm at the moment. Anyway, I was able to use this ratchet wrench and get those loosened up. So let me work on the rest. All right, it took a little bit of finagling, but I finally got those two bolts next to the heater fan housing taken care of. Just had to do some wiggling. So I got the valve cover top off. So I'm going to clean this up and then work on getting the harness out. You can see this one's separated, but the main part should still be able to pull out, hopefully. And there is a lot of oil in this area, so I'm hoping it was the valve cover gasket. I really can't see anything else that it could be. So I'll get this out and get it cleaned up, get that harness pulled. We'll be back. All right, so I don't know if you can see, but I tried to use the wire method here, and all I did was just pull the head off. Sometimes I wonder if it's easy just to cut the bloody things off right off the bat and go ahead and drill and use a self-tapping screw to pull them out, because it looks like that's what I'm going to be doing on every one anyway. We'll be back. All right, well, I got two of the dang things out. These suckers are just pain in the butt. You see this one? Put the screw in once and it chipped away and just broke. The screw came out, so I had to re-drill it, put it in a different location. Of course, the plug itself is not an easily accessible area, so everyone's a chore of about 20-25 minutes trying to get it out. But as they say, make use of WD-40 and give it a lot of play. Try to get the WD-40 down to the O-ring so it comes out a little bit better. Two more to go. Well, it's not what I wanted to do, but had to take the tire off. I'd moved it far to the right so I could do the left side. I still got more things to do on the left, so I couldn't move it over. So I got to work in this little confined area. Oh, here we go. So we got full. What's the word? I don't know. At least I can reach these two very easily from this area without the tire on, and of course without the fender well on. So let's see if I can use the wire method on these. And you can see the oil leaking down over the solenoid on the starter. It's definitely coming off that top rear. All right, back in a sec. All right, I got the wire on the first one, tried to pull it, and it broke right in two. So back to the drill. There's nothing else to be done on this one except just cut it off and get the drill in there and get the screw screwed in, pull it out. I'll be back. This is what happens when they're brittle. It just flakes apart and you're left with not much to work with. So what I'm going to do is try to drill in a different area and get a screw in a different location and hope it doesn't act like a previous one did. It just broke apart and I had to dig out every individual piece. So we'll see. All right, got all four out, passenger side. Every single one I had to drill, insert screw, and pull out. Now I've got to vacuum out a couple of them, make sure I didn't leave any bits and pieces. What a pain. All right, the glow plugs themselves are 10 mil. So get a 10 mil extension or extender socket, whatever you want to call it, extension socket, and use any combination you need to get in there and just very gently break them loose. I think they're like 9 foot-pounds, something like that. At least that's the supposed. And yeah, all right, these were tightened in quite well. When I did the driver's side, they were in there extremely loose. All right, they're broken loose. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and get these on order. I should get them tomorrow or the next day. O'Reilly's again. I think they were about $11 each. And then, like I said, I'll leave these in until I get the new ones. Then I'll just do a swap out and torque them down, and we'll call it good. Clean up that valve cover seat area and get a new one on there, and everything else is looking good. I think I'll clean up some of this oil though afterwards. That way I can tell if it's still leaking later. Well, while I'm waiting on the glow plugs to be delivered, I just thought I'd clean up the rotor here a little bit. think it's an indication the truck's been sitting a while. So I'm going to try to clean it up best I can here. I'll be back. Well, I got the rest knocked down. Unfortunately, I can only do one side of the rotor because the back side's got a shield, and I'm not going to dismantle this. This is just something I'm doing while I'm waiting. But, well, half of it would be good. Alright, I just pulled the first two glow plugs out of the passenger side, and they're basically the same condition as the driver's side. Nothing to note, just heavily carboned. So I'm gonna put 4 new ones in on that side, and we'll be done with all the glow plugs. And of course, I got the new harness here waiting to go on too, and the new valve cover gasket. So I'll get these done and we'll be back. All right, there's all 4. Just loosen them up with a 10mm, and once you get them loose, just either reach in and grab the tip with the needle nose or use a magnet, whatever works for you. And I'm just waiting for the final delivery for the new ones. Be back soon. All right, well, there goes the bag. New glow plugs. Got them from O'Reilly's, ZD13s. And I think they're $10.99, basically 11 bucks each. So now we have them. I'll get them in. So to put them in, it's a very basic procedure. Of course, once you've removed the harness and the other one, basically you just get this up there, start to drop it in. You can feel it when it goes into the hole or the port, and then just let it go. And once you get it in, what I do is I take my 10mm, which is somewhere. This one, I can't put an extension on it, so I just put the socket on it, and I hand tighten it until it seats. Then at that point, I'll come back with the torque wrench, and now I'm going to torque it down. Like I said earlier, I've read where some people say 10 foot-pounds, some people say 14. So I'm just going to cut the difference and go with 12. And basically just rinse and repeat to get them all 4 in. We'll be back. Alright, got them in. Got them all torqued down. Like I said, I went with 12 foot-pounds. People can scream all they want, but I think that's going to be alright. So the next step is get the harness plugged in. And basically you just got to make sure that you put a little bit of lube on the O-rings. Like I said earlier, I had a little mix of little oil and diesel I mixed up for cutting oil, and I'll just put that on there, and they go in real easy after that. So that's step number 2. All right, once again, one-handed here. So, get it in line, give it a little bit of a twist and wiggle as you put it in, and it fits right in. Same with the next one. There we go. I don't know if you can see that one or not. There we go. And one more. Might be hard to see up here. Yep, it's in. And just feed the harness up a little bit so I can grab it when I get up on top. There we go. Alright, glow plugs are done. Next is just valve cover, tighten everything down, plug everything in. And getting the valve cover gasket on is about the simplest it could possibly be. Other than reaching back to the furthest point. Get a couple wires and hoses here. Get around. And I've got it upside down. Of course, it's simple for the smart guys, not for the dumb ones like me. There we go. So what I do is just kind of set it in place, and I'll loosely put the cover on it. Get a couple bolts, just like 1 or 2 threads in, just to hold it all in place. Then I'll screw all the bolts in by hand, and before it's torqued down, I can wiggle the valve cover gasket and the gasket itself a little bit separately to make sure the gasket is centered everywhere. And then I'll torque it down. I don't remember exactly, but I think it's 6 foot-pounds. Yeah, 6 foot-pounds on the bolts for the valve cover gasket. And then there's minor things like these little features on the harness. They'll go over some of the bolts. And then I put all the other hardware back on. And let me go ahead and get that cover on there. All right, it's getting a little bit late. Got everything on. Got the harness on, of course, glow plugs in, valve cover gasket's on, valve cover's on, and valve cover bolts are torqued. Of course, you are not going to get a torque wrench on these back two. But what I do is I torque one with the wrench, torque wrench, and then I use my what is it, 12 millimeter ratchet wrench. So after I torque it with the torque wrench, I put the ratchet wrench on it just to get a feel for what that torque is and how it feels in my hand. And then I hit those bottom two down there. Actually bottom three, so I couldn't get it on here either. Otherwise, it came out all right. Quite happy with it. And next job, I think, is going to be the inner fender wells. Get those back on. And of course, reassemble all of this here. The vacuum reservoir and the fuel injector module. No, not the fuel injector, glow plug module. And of course, plug everything in. We'll be back. All right, we're back here again. Just want to let you see, I picked up this new work light off of Amazon. I got a 2-pack. They were fairly inexpensive. I kind of like it. It's got a little bit of weight to it, and it's got a little hook on the end that you can hang it if you need to. It's got a couple different settings depending on what type of light you want. And also, if you happen to be boating and you don't want to blow your night vision, it's got red, and it also has blinking red, so that might be good. And of course, I guess you could use it as an emergency light on the road, but just as a work light, I think it'd be good, because you can also it's hard to do this one-handed, but you can also swivel it, of course. All right, now for the bad stuff. I'm an idiot. I knew something and I didn't really focus on it. And the issue was right here. I had an O-ring. Actually, I had 4 O-rings supplied in the kit with the valve cover gaskets. I wasn't really sure what they went to. I had the idea that one might go here. So I figured, well, I'll just put it on there after I get the cover on. First I tried putting it on before the cover, and it didn't fit anywhere. So once I got the cover on, I tried again, and that's when I realized that no, that O-ring does not fit there. So I knew, though, that this was not right. Basically, it's an opening going straight into your fuel injector valve area. So at that point, I figured I needed to go get some more information. So I went online, and yes, there's supposed to be a seal there. It's a Ford seal, miscellaneous seal with part number, etc. And I found some online, various sellers, ranging from $6 to $20. So I went ahead and ordered 2 of them, because I figured I could just imagine getting one, screwing it up, and then having to wait another week before I got another one. So I've got 2 of them coming. Now put one on there, but the bad thing is I've got to take the valve cover off to get the seal on. So here I go again. Next step is pull the valve cover off. Although at this point I'm just going to pull all the bolts and just let it sit there on top, of course, until I get the seal in, and then we'll see what it takes to get it installed. All right, well, taking the bolts out this time, I'm going to say about 15 to 20 minutes. Not terrible. And of course I put them all back in the flap of my little box here so I don't lose track of which bolt came out of what position. All right, so I'm on hold for the seal on the valve cover, so I really can't do anything. I could do more on the engine, but I think I will wait, make sure I have everything in hand before I press on, just before I don't want to come across something else unexpected and have to take something else back off. So we'll wait on that. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is work on getting the bumper off and see what needs to get welded. 'Cause I know it's broken. I don't know if you can see it in there. It's broken right here, and there's a piece still attached to the bumper. So I'm going to get that piece off and clean it up, and take it to the whole truck to a weld shop so they can weld it back onto the beam, so I can reattach the bumper. This side I think is good, but I have a feeling there's going to be more broken plastic pieces in there. Like this here, for instance. It's broken, but it's got one still attached, versus the other side. It's completely broken off. I've got a new one sitting waiting to go on. So those are the type of things I'm going to be looking for. So let's do some exploratory on this bumper and see if we can get it off. All right, got the bumper off. I can see where the damage was. Obviously, we got a plate here on this end of the I-beam, and it attaches to the bumper, or the bumper attaches to it, I should say. Here's the other one. Of course, you can see that it is no longer attached to the I-beam, and it's been hit somewhere along the line. It's been broken and crunched, and so I've cleaned it up a little bit with a grinder. It had previously been welded, very bad weld. I doubt they even cleaned anything up. They just tacked it on there as best they could. So it's not flush at all the way it should be. So I've cleaned this one up along with the plate again, and we'll take it to a local shop and see if they can maybe press it back into shape before they weld it. And I've got a little bit of a tear right there in the metal, so we'll see if we can get that taken care of. The bumper itself, it's kind of dented, but I don't think it's going to be anything significant. I'll take it with me to the shop. I mean, if they can do a little bit to pound it back into shape, that'd be fine. If not, no big thing. I'll just clean it up, slap it back on. And otherwise, I didn't see anything further back. There's just the bumper itself. All the other metal looks fairly intact. Yeah, we're good to go. We'll get that welded as soon as I get the parts in to finish the engine and get it running again. Then I'll scoot down and get this welded, and we'll be rolling.